Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mike Rosehart Show. Just going live right now, so I'll give it a minute for everyone to tune in. If my audio is on point, let me know that it's working. Hopefully, we are indeed live with no issues. So someone jump in the comments and let me know that we are in fact live. So I think we're live. So in fact, today we're going to be talking about, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to talk about how, you know what? I think I'm going to talk today about house hacking and how your house can be the best investment. Your house. So yes, the one you live in. And I know this is like contrary to like the personal finance community's popular belief, real estate investors' popular beliefs. Usually your house is something you buy that you get emotionally attached to, right? It's one of those things, hey Tommy, it's one of those things where you buy irrationally because it's emotional, it's the place you're gonna live. But if you treat your house like a proper investment and you make investment decisions, hey Mohammed, good to see you on, your house can be one of the best investments you ever make for several reasons I'm gonna get into in greater depth if you hold on. And if you have any questions, by the way, that you've been burning to ask me on Instagram and maybe I didn't respond yet, or there was something you want to go into greater depth on, this is the time to do it. Jump in the comments. But talking about like how your house can be the most valuable investment in your entire portfolio. One, the house you live in is tax-free on sale. There are no capital gains taxes. That's huge. If I buy a house for $300 and sell it for $600, I make $300,000 tax-free. Yes? I hear you, Amma. I'm live streaming, my girl. Okay, thank you. I'll eat dinner after. Daddy missed dinner, looks like. I go live every week, and even if there's dinner, even if we have company, even if I'm sick, every single week, 7 p.m. Eastern, for a year and a half. That's dedication. I bring that same dedication to everything that I do, including real estate investing, which is why at 2 in the morning I answer my phone, which is why no matter what happens, I always succeed because I work harder than everyone else does. Someone else is like, it's raining out, it's a rough day, I'm not feeling good, my kids are sick, and I'm at my in-laws. They're not gonna go live. They're like, this Wednesday I'm not gonna do it. But every single Wednesday I'm consistent. And I think the audience appreciates that. I think that in the real world, in the business world, consistency and dedication pays out over everything else. Like you can be a top performer, but if you're not consistent, then you'll end up failing, right? And so one of the key successes in anything that you do, your investing strategy, whatever it is your job, consistency. Just be consistent. Work at a level that you believe that you can maintain, right? Like, and when I say consistent, I don't mean like you're on top of your game all the time. I don't always give the best performances on these streams. Like sometimes I'm low energy, and you guys have seen it. I've been sick, I've been on here. Sometimes my thumbnails suck, and my Saturday videos, like last week's, get 700 views, and no one cares. It was a great video, I thought, but sometimes you try your hardest, and you spend 12 hours editing a video, and no one cares. But I'm consistent. I don't give up. I might tone things back. I may go really hard at YouTube and spend 50 hours in a week, and then tone it back to 10, but I never tone it back to 0. I don't give up on things, and because giving up is how you fail. You don't, just as in an investment, you don't lose until you sell, you don't lose until you give up. I believe that wholeheartedly. Whenever I buy like anything, when I buy a stock or a property, you don't lose until you sell, right? And so you don't lose until you give up. So don't give up. Unless, of course, you're having some negative things in your life, like with the construction and property management. We partnered with someone to sort of outsource, and I brought in the mentorship program, so the mentees are now running a lot of the operations. That's a strategic pivot. That's not giving up. Yes, I've given up on managing any direct contact with any tenants or any direct contact with any contractors beyond like through the GC. That was intentional. That was an intentional pivot. So that those people who are like, hey, Mike, you're being hypocritical, you gave up on this and that. Not giving up, changing direction. I still buy properties, but I've changed my strategy for doing that. So anyway, today's video is about how you make your house, it's supposed to be about how you make your house one of the best investments that you've ever taken on, right? Like it should be one of the best, it should be better than your rental properties. It should be better than your stock portfolio. Why? Net of taxes, right? Like the tax implications are huge. Your primary residence, if you live in it, is tax-free. But that's just the first punch, right? Like a lot of people use that as like justification to make bad decisions. Like I'm gonna like upgrade in my kitchen and put in like a I don't know, rotisserie oven thing that spins from the ceiling for $8,000 because it's like the best thing I've ever seen. And that might be cool for you and your family, but for resale, probably not a smart idea. People do those kinds of things all the time. I'm even guilty of it in my current house. I turned this house into an ultimate house hack, and people walk through and they're like, it's closed concept. There's too many bedrooms. It's too big. Too much this, too much that. You don't personalize your house. That's actually a mistake if you're trying to look at it from an investment perspective. If you're rich enough that you can say, hey, I don't care if my house is a bad investment, cool, you do you. But your home can be one of the best investment vehicles you have. 1, tax-free. 2, it can generate cash flow. Very, very important to think about that fact that it generates cash flow. If you turn your house into a secondary dwelling unit, turn your house into 3 units, for instance, now the provincial laws here in Ontario and Canada are allowing 3 units in any residential property. Municipalities like Kitchener-Waterloo have adopted now 3 units in any property without any zoning approval. Every single property, including tiny houses and secondary dwelling structures that are not part of the primary structure. You can build additions, you can build separate coach houses and things, and lane houses and tiny houses. That's amazing. Hey JC, good to see you on. That's amazing, right? Like when you think about it, that's gonna change the game in a big way. 1, it's gonna make duplexes, in my opinion, less desirable. Because if you have a duplex or a triplex now, who cares? All the duplex and triplex conversions that I did, while making them entirely legal and all this, it's like it's less valuable. Before I had to fight through bylaw and zoning to get it above board, to change the zoning. Now, every property in Ontario can potentially become a triplex now, and it's coming from Ottawa, the pressure on the municipalities. London, here where I invest, has not gone on board. The secondary dwelling unit, allowing 2 units in any residential property anywhere, that has been forced down London's throat, is now allowed no matter what. They can't say no. Every property can be duplex so long as it meets building codes. So for things like headroom, fire separations, means of escape, you still have to comply with the building code and the fire code and make it safe, but you're allowed to do that in any property. It makes grandfathering way easier. It makes adding extra units way easier. Anyway, so that was a little tangent I had. But I do think that this movement is catching on. Like I think in 10 or 15 years, houses like these, like the ones I live in, are going to be highly coveted. The property that has that, like mine has like kind of a back main floor area you could Airbnb, has a basement sort of suite, not legal. I didn't make it a secondary dwelling unit. I didn't want that. And purposely, I wanted to make this whole house capital gains tax free. I didn't want to convert it to a secondary dwelling unit. I had the city ask me, would you like to convert? I had neighbors, they would love for me to convert, I'm sure, to a legal duplex and get a rental license. But you don't have to. You can have your own house, primary residence. If you keep it that way, then then from a capital gains perspective, it's your entire house. If you occupy the whole thing and you don't separate it into 2 units, maybe you just rent out some bedrooms to help cover costs, then you have a 100% capital gains tax-free house, and you can offset the cost of your property taxes, all of these things. And I want to talk one last thing. I should have started at the start. If you're now watching, someone in the comments after this video goes published on my channel, whatever, for playback, someone put a comment and say around 8 minutes and 30 seconds, you hear the story about Mike moving. So I am moving. I bought a new house here in London. It's in West London, and beautiful area, like one of the nicest streets in London, in my opinion. Great neighborhood, very well to do, great school districts. This property, beautiful house, 2,100 square feet above grade, 2,200 square foot walkout. So in the back, it's 2-story, solid brick, garage on the side, so you don't have to see the garage from the front. I like to be able to drive around in the side for my garage. It's got all the things that you need. It's gonna have a gym, like a home gym for like a squat rack and a bench and a rowing machine. And it's gonna have a home theater, so a home movie theater in the basement there with soundproofing. It's gonna have a game board room and an actual gaming room with gaming desktop machines. So that's gonna be really, really fun to have the gaming room and the board room. And that's gonna have an office as well and a secondary office. So really excited for that, as well as 4 Menti rooms. It has a lower apartment already in it, so I'm just gonna basically refresh what's already there. Just put a new kitchen in and change up the kitchen cabinets, put in some new floors and paint. But the existing bones are already there. Beautiful property, really excited for it. Had the potential for like 10 bedrooms. In London, you can't really get that many bedrooms, so I'm gonna use it more like movie theater, home gym, a boardroom, a games room. We're just gonna enjoy this house, and for me, it's a big upgrade, but I'm doing it in a way that's cost conscious. So I'm running it through, partly like I can use the property to help expand my business in a little bit. Like it can help me stay business focused because I'm gonna have the mentees living there. So that'll get my game on point, right? If you think about that, it'll keep my mindset strong. Iron sharpens iron. And so if I have four, hardcore producing dudes down there that all want to buy properties and we're buying them together, then one, the net profit of all those deals is going to equate to a ton of extra cash flow, which will more than offset this new house. But two, I actually rent out the rooms to the mentees. Now they offset their rent by working, like they are making enough from the real estate ventures that we're doing that it's like a net positive for them. But I'm just getting rent from that too. So you can imagine a situation where I'm house hacking and living in $750,000, $800,000 house for free, right? And that's a sweet situation. And there's a huge value add. This house was sat on the market a long time. I negotiated the price down pretty significantly. There's at least $100,000 in upside, which will be all tax-free. It's a single-family house. So that's the beautiful thing about your home being an investment. If I look at every house I've ever bought, my first one in 2012 that I lived in, all the way to my second, third, fourth, fifth. I moved a lot of times now. I guess I like to move. We buy every couple of years and end up upsizing. We've slowly been building. Actually, our new build we sold and we downsized into my last duplex and then we upsized again. But anyway, the shifting and moving through properties, I will find the best value for a property, sell it for tax-free gain, and then move that capital into the next project. Where else can you do that? It's the equivalent of the Canadian 1031 exchange. In the US, you can take an investment and you can not pay tax and defer those gains into the next rental property. In Canada, we don't have that. So the next best thing is the primary residence, basically exemption, followed then by like the tax-free savings account. But take advantage of it. If you don't own a home, buy one. Even if you're renting, buy something and make it your primary residence because then it's tax-free. That's a great investment vehicle to have. So everyone in Canada should have a primary residence that they can have tax-free growth on, especially if they can add some value, right? Because talk about the 3 ways to make money. Well, 1, it's tax-free, which is awesome. 2, you get to create equity. 3, you get mortgage pay down. 4, you get cash flow if you rent out portions of your house. And you can do it in a way that's not intrusive to your life. Like I have a family and kids. I can lock a door and boom, now I never have to see any of my mentees, right? Like we can have separations. You can create your house in a way that you have doors that lock and things like that for sound separation, so you don't have to have it be inconvenient, but at the same time you can live and enjoy basically living for free. And for me, maybe it's just me, you guys can jump in the comments and let me know, but is it crazy that like a meal that's free tastes better? Like if someone treats me to sushi, it tastes better than if I pay for my own sushi. If someone also paid for my living expenses, then that house would even be more enjoyable. Maybe it's a mental thing, I don't know, but like I feel better when it's free. So get on board with house hacking. Now we're gonna do some question and answer and I'll jump back to all the stuff that I normally talk about, which is just me ranting about what's going on in my life. And if you can tell, if you can notice, I am feeling much better despite being still recovering from this cold and being a bit sick. I am feeling overall much better than I was 2 weeks ago when CBC wrote that hit piece on me doing the cash for keys landlord thing. My response to, or I guess the context to that CBC radio show and article that CBC Canada put out is gonna be on Matt McKeever's channel. So check that out. We did a video, it's coming out in like 2 days. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be like an exposed video. So that'd be kind of fun to see the other side of like what the landlord had to deal with, which is, fortunately we still have some profit on this project. So everyone's gonna make money, it's gonna be fine, but just the stress of having to go through, you'll see what I had to go through. This place was trashed. And I got painted as the evil landlord. No one cared about like, what about the landlord's damages? What about how the system's completely unfair for landlords? So that'll be a fun side. And it talks about tenant screening and how to do that properly. So that'll be a good video to check out. But in my life, I've made some significant changes. I have no employees, none. I am culling my investor pool. So investors I don't want to work with anymore, I'm not going to work with anymore. If there are difficult investors, and there are 1 or 2, I am going to propose to them, let's sell this property, let's activate this contract, let's take our profit and part as friends. I'm calling and it feels great. I'm saying no and it feels really good to a lot of people. People reach out all the time with requests, they want to partner on businesses and do all these kinds of things. I'm saying no, and it's not that I want to say no, but that it got to a point where I literally had to say no. Like people are begging for free coaching calls. People are asking to do joint venture opportunities or wanting to start businesses with me. And oftentimes I'll explore those things. I'll be like, yeah, let's get on a call and talk about it. Just because I like to, field opportunities. And now I get to say no. Someone brings me an opportunity, I get to say no to that. And that is very powerful. I take on too much. I'm a yes man. When I commit to something, I will go until the ends of the earth to try to honor my commitment, right? And that kills me health-wise. I am now saying no. I don't have a property management company anymore. I don't have a construction company anymore. I have partners, strategic partners who I can work with. I have a Rolodex of hundreds of contractors in London that I can call. I know all the sub-trades, but hey, they're not employees of mine anymore. I can pass them on to the investor. They can make the call. I know all the people, but I'm no longer running a construction company. I'm done with that. No longer running. And check out Kevin Pathrath. He did a video on like why his construction company failed and he lost 300 grand, and why it's very hard to run a successful construction company, and why I wouldn't recommend it for anyone unless you're like a sole proprietor and you're actually there on site doing the work and you want to do that. That'd be the only situation. But like, you do not want a construction company. It's not good. The second thing is property management. Don't want to do that either. I have outsourced now to the mentees and a partner with a local property management company who's fantastic, and we've got a relationship going, and they're managing a lot of our portfolio. They're actually doing a better job, I think, than what my employees could be doing. And I can't give the businesses the 50 hours a week they need each. Like, to run those companies as well as I'd like, I'd have to spend more time. And it takes me away from, it takes away from me being able to like enjoy my life, being able to do better deals, being able to connect with investors and add value strategically. I had to look at the whole thing and say, where does Mike Rosehart fit in here in this whole transaction? Where do I add the most value? And I add the most value in acquiring the deal, getting that deal set up with the investor, and then coaching the investor through financing, providing all that knowledge, and then designing the project. So maybe it's a single family to duplex conversion or secondary dwelling unit conversion, right? Maybe it's eventually going to be single family to triplex conversion once that's allowed. Right now, we're just in London, we're stuck with secondary dwelling unit conversions. And I'm doing a ton of those. I have like 5 of those on the go. We're gonna be starting up right now. So I'll become like the secondary dwelling unit, I guess, king in London, or I'll niche down on that a bit. But I'll focus on the things that I add value to. Here are the drawings, here's the plan. If we execute on this plan, we will make $100,000. Hand that off to a contractor. Why was I insourcing that? Why was I doing that? And then management. It doesn't make sense for me to do that either. Again, low value. I should be focused on the things that I enjoy and the things that add the most value. So I've made a strategic change. It makes me feel great when I wake up and my phone has no texts. Woke up this morning, I had 1 text. That is, I used to wake up, by the way, and have like 50 texts on my phone, and I'd have 12 missed calls by like 10 a.m. I wasn't happy. Like, people were all calling me all the time. I was like a project manager trying to manage everyone's lives. Like, the contractors have no idea, the sub-trades have no idea. Now it's like I bring in a general contractor, he has the plan, we're very organized, very systematized, he handles it all. He's got 10 sub-trades working for him, cool, he manages all that. That's $30 an hour work. I shouldn't be doing that anyway, even though I was better. It was hard for me to say, like, there was no one that was as good as me at doing this, unfortunately, but it's okay. 70% as good as me is okay. That's passable. Those are the areas where you don't need to be 100%. On the deal side, you need to be 100%. On the financing side, you need to be 100%. That stuff I can't outsource. It's very, very hard to outsource the high value stuff. It's easier to outsource the low value stuff. So anyway, big changes in my business and my life. And this move, in a lot of ways, it solidifies a change in my life. Like, I'm going back to more of a retired lifestyle. And for the last year, I've really grinded it. Like, we're making tons of money. I'm sure we've paid the investors a couple of $1 million. I'm sure with everything, all the value we've created, I've made 7 figures too. But it's not about the money. It never was for me. And I have to pull my hat out and say, is my investors' success and happiness and my, guys working for me and the people in the network that I was supporting, right? Because there's a lot of people who are relying on me to deliver, right? Like, I was creating jobs for a lot of contractors and things like that. Is their happiness more important than my own? And for a long time, for like the last year, I was dead set that my investors' happiness and my, contractors and the people in my life and all the people that relied on me, that their happiness, and my business partner, their happiness was more important than my own. And that was a mistake. It brought me down to a dark place where I was working 15, 16, 17 hours a day. Not even just working, but like mentally strained all the time, trying to give my best. And it's just out of like a necessity to not let people down. And that's just me. This is me just like vlogging and sharing my thoughts on that. But I don't want to put myself in that position again. And that's why I have mentees partnered at every single property deal. They're the active. I can provide strategic direction and guidance. That's where I'm meant to be adding value, I think, in this world. And this shift, this move, I'm going to be moving towards the end of November here. So stay tuned. In about 2 weeks, we're going to get, hopefully 2-3 weeks, we're going to get possession. And I'll be renovating the new place, putting in new kitchens and stuff. There's, put in 2 new kitchens and make it really, really baller. But when I move in there, it's going to be a change. It's going to have, I'm going to be going to the hot tub every night, and then we're going to get a sauna in the back too. So sauna, hot tub, movie theater. I'm going to be relaxing and enjoying the life that I want to live. And then during the day, I'm going to crush a deal or two and make some investors some money. The investors I want to work with. I don't have a lot of fun making the mentees a lot of money. That's why I'm still doing this, because I want to help them unlock fire, right? So it's something that for me, I've made a strategic change, and this move solidifies that for me. That sometimes changing the environment helps you, I think, mentally to get behind a change. And so everything's changing all at once, my business and all these things together, so that I can be basically retired again. I'm gonna wake up probably like 10, hang out with my family, go see a couple of properties, talk to some investors, do some numbers in the evening after my kids go to bed. That's it. Maybe work like a 4 or 5 hour day. Have partners in place to ensure things are moving smoothly. And yes, it'll be less profitable. Like maybe I could have got a renovation done for 60 grand, and maybe now it's gonna cost 75, right? But when we were making 150,000 in margin, it doesn't matter. Like I'm trying to save $5,000 or $10,000 for my investor, and it's just being like, it's like when you become too frugal, right? If you're too frugal, you're standing in line for 2 hours to save $1 on a burger, you just wasted 2 hours of your time to save $1. That's 50 cents an hour. I was doing stuff like that, but on a bigger scale, right? Like saving 5 or 10 grand on renovations. I now refuse to lift a hammer, so I don't do any construction work ever, right? By putting my tools down, it forces me to outsource. I'm the type of guy, once I get involved in a project, I'll be there all night, right? Trying to fix it and solve the issues. I have to just put a firm line in the sand and say, I will not do that. It forces me not to get dragged down into the weeds. But anyway, that was my rant. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Now let's go into the question and answer. Hey Mohammed, hope you're doing well. Question for you. If you lost everything and had to start again, how would you do it and what would you do differently? So I think I've answered this one before, but my perspective has changed, I think, over time, depending on when you sample me with that question. I think today, if you ask me if I lost everything, what would I do? Depends what you define as everything, right? I think in some senses, if you took all my money away, I would be still very rich. Like my network is very strong. My brand is very strong. I could walk in just with my name and start doing deals, right? And start handing those deals to people. For instance, I locked up 2 properties under contract in the last 24 hours. One of these properties is almost a 2% real property here in London. Can rent for like $6,000 a month. Amazing potential, beautiful property. And I had someone actually offer me $40,000 cash for the right to that paper. It would be $40,000 in one day, just because I could lock up a couple deals. So that's what I would do now. Like when you say lost everything, I guess you have to give it greater context, right? For me to lose all my money is a lot different than me losing what I know. Like my knowledge up here, if you take that away, that's a real crime. Like that would be hard. To have to relearn everything that I know now, that would be more of a loss than the money, I think. Either way, like if you took the knowledge instead of the money, I'd still be all right. I'd still be fired because I had the money. But I don't know. You got to take both away to really cripple me. If I had no connections, let's go even deeper. So you take away, I have the knowledge, but I restart without any of the connections. Do I have the social media platform? Like, do I still have this Instagram personal finance channel? Like, can I still reach out to 14,000 people on a post, or do I have to have nothing? Like I have so many ways I could regenerate, right? But if I didn't, I'd probably start if I had nothing. So I'd have a lot of time because I wouldn't be on Instagram, I wouldn't be on Facebook or YouTube. I'd have to start again. So that'd be great to have all that time back. But what would I do? So I still know how to find deals. So let's go there. That's the place to earn the most money. Probably what I'd do is get a job. I know that sounds terrible, but I'd go pick up a job again. A 9 to 5, like a grinder job, something easy that I can make 50, 60 grand a year. Like I have an Ivy degree, right? You can't take that from me. So I could still go get a job, like just a basic something, in an office. And I'd spend my lunch, like I would just isolate myself like I did, just like what I did before. I did 3 years grinding in a cubicle, right? When I graduated from 21 to a little over 24. And I wouldn't focus on the career trajectory. Like I was focused on getting promoted. I went from analyst, senior analyst to manager. So I worked really hard. I wouldn't do that. I would just coast. I put in the exact amount that's necessary for me to get like a decent performance review on that job role. Hey Emma, Daddy's on his live stream, okay? I can't come out right now. Give me like 20 minutes and I'll do bath time, okay? It's okay. So let's ballpark this. Sorry, this is real life, by the way. And Mike Rosehart has 2 children. I can't. I'm streaming right now, okay, my girl? You have to watch TV with mom or you have to play with your toys until I get out. So, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of thought. So, what do? I get a cubicle job. Start again, I have no money. So, how do I get money? I get a job. My daughter's the best. It's inconvenient sometimes, but the number of, just like as an aside, we're gonna stop for a second, talk about having kids. It's teach person their own. I'm not gonna tell you to have kids if you don't want it, but kids are amazing. Like, I would have both my girls again in a heartbeat. I love having the atmosphere of children. When I'm trying to do business, very inconvenient, but like every other time, great. The good outweighs the bad. Okay, so here's your start again when you have nothing. I go get that job, and you gotta work it. But a job where I gotta just like put in like a B-level performance. So I'm not gonna put in overtime. I'm not gonna work harder. It's gonna be Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I'm probably gonna get in the morning, do a little bit of work, and then most people go for the coffee break and they go talk around the cooler. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pop up MLS. I'll be looking at those deals because I still know how to find a deal, right? And remember, half of my deals come from MLS still, right? So I'm gonna go on MLS. I'm gonna be lining up tons of showings. I'm a realtor, so I guess you can take that from me too. Take away my license, take away all that. I'll go find a realtor in town. I'll partner with them. I'll say, hey, give me a little bit of a cash kickback on every deal we buy. I'm gonna buy a lot of volume. I have a plan to buy 10 properties this year. And in return, you're gonna kick me back some money on everything we buy. You're gonna help me get this done. You're gonna connect me to all your trades because I don't know any trades, right? So now I gotta go on Kijiji and I gotta start calling trades and vetting them, right? I gotta start building that Rolodex of trades so I can go do deals. But I'm working a full-time job. I'm living super frugal. If you took everything away from me, I'm kicked out, I'm evicted on the street. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna find a 4-bedroom unit or house. There's tons of them. I'm gonna go find one. There's a house actually in Northwest London I just saw about a month ago pop up on Facebook Marketplace. It was rented for $17.50 plus utilities. And I'd be super frugal, so my utilities would be like $150 a month. $17.50, it was a 4+ basement. I'd go live in there. I guess, we'll pretend I'm single, I guess. Pretend I have a family. That's a real cripple. But all right, pretend I have a family too, because it was easier when I was single to do the grind. But I'll do it with a family too, just to make it even harder, just to prove that anyone can do it in 5 years. And okay, so we got the house over there for $17.50 a month. I'm renting it out. I convinced the landlord to rent it to me. This and that. I scraped together first and last month's rent. I don't know where I got first and last month's rent from because I'm broke. I guess I go to the bank, get an unsecured line of credit for 10 grand, get an MBNA 0% credit card, and I go borrow the 10 grand from there too. So, okay, so this is like the worst case scenario. My Rosehart starting with no connections and nothing. And can I tell people that I've done a lot of deals before, or like I pretend I know nothing? I guess I go into every deal knowing nothing. Just, I have done like way more than 50 deals, like 60 or 70 deals now, so I have the experience, but I can't tell anyone about it. So, Jordan, that's awesome. Thanks so much. I bought my first duplex in London. Thanks for making this info available. No problem. No problem. Okay, so I got the house. I'm renting it out, right? And I've got $17.50 a month in rent I got to pay out. My wife, let's just assume that she stays home with the kids, like whatever. She'll work part-time. She'll make like 15 grand a year, make like $1,000 a month or something. Some like a little minimum wage job, because we'll pretend that she's got nothing either. So there we go. Enough money coming in from her that we'll have her work part-time enough to get $17.50 in rent. How about that? That's a minimum wage at like 18 hours a week. She should make enough to do that. So that's a couple hours. 18 hours is like a couple hours a night. It's no problem. I can watch the kids while I'm looking for deals and stuff like that. Not a big deal. But this is like actually really hard. If you don't have kids, you should be able to do this easily. But with kids, it actually is harder. Okay, so I worked a 9 to 5 job. I'm looking at deals. I'm lining up my lunch break. So on my lunch break, I go look at 4 properties. You can usually get like a 65-minute lunch. It's a 1-hour lunch, but I can usually get 5 minutes on either side. I used to look at 4 properties on my lunch break. So I look at 4 properties every day. Probably I've narrowed the search. I've looked at 100 properties to find 4 that I want to see, right, in London. They're all 1% rural. I'm finding tons of 1% rural properties right now in MLS. I snipe one up, right? The first one I snipe up. I've got it. I go and I bring it to the local real estate networking groups. There's a bunch here in London you can go to. There's like London on Fire even too. You could socialize the deal. Say, hey, I got a deal under contract. It's conditional right now. It's assignable. I've got a week left of conditional. I go to the next meetup. I go talk to 30 or 40 real estate investors. But I don't know anyone there, so no one trusts me yet. I just show them this deal. They go look at the deal. We go look at the deal together after work, after 5 o'clock. I show them this property. I say, this property, let's joint venture it together, or you just want to take this property off my hands. It's a 1% rural property. Pay me $5,000 fee. It's yours. So now the realtor's giving me a kickback and I just got $5,000. So I signed that property. I'm making 5, 6, 7 times my day job salary. But remember, my wife's making enough to support the rent. So net of like taxes and the bare amount we need for food and the bare amount we need for our vehicle, which is like, I need a vehicle to be able to get around for real estate and stuff. So we gotta have a small car, be economical about it, right? Get like a Ford Focus or something for $2,000 on Kijiji, and the insurance is $90 a month. So very low cost, no car payments or anything like that. Bare minimum insurance, keep my expenses super lean, right? No vacations. We're just like on like hardcore saving mode. Because you gotta build that, as soon as you start building the snowball, once it rolls down the hill, then it rolls itself. But you gotta roll the first ball, which is really hard. This is why I'm being super frugal for this scenario. So we're saving about 80 to 90% of what I'm making, right? That's crazy. First off, most people are like, that's crazy, Mike, but I'll do it. My wife will make enough just to pay the $1,750 in rent. I'll make enough to support the food and everything else. Ivan, how you doing? Good to see you on. Anyway, if any of you guys watching are enjoying this, I'm doing a scenario where if I started again with no knowledge, with no connections, no network, no YouTube, no Instagram, no money, completely broke, starting again, how to build up financial independence in like less than 5 years. But okay, so I'm starting to save. I probably try to lock up enough, if it's a really sweet deal, I would lock that deal up. And as soon as I have that deal locked up under contract, I'm sorry, my girl. I know you want to come in, but mom says no YouTube. She doesn't want you on YouTube. I know, but she doesn't want you on YouTube. Okay, so how do we do this? So we got, it's hard to, this is what life's like. Like I'm gonna get home and be fighting for deals and you guys get into real life. This is what's gonna be like. I'm gonna be on the phone with like contractors, with realtors, and she's gonna be screaming. That's the journey to fire. Thankfully I'm already fired. Like, please get your finances in order before you have kids. That's a smart and prudent thing to do. But if I was grinding this out with no money, you could imagine a scenario like that. I've got what? I'm bringing in, let's say I'm making $55,000 a year. That's like a pretty average salary, 50 grand a year. So it's like $4,000 a month, roughly. Net of everything, I'm probably saving $3,000 a month. And then my wife's making enough that she'd be paying them the rent, but her tax bill be almost nothing. So I'm paying enough for the utilities, the food, the car, and just the basic stuff, like very, very minimal, right? So we're thinking $3,000 to $4,000 a month is gonna take me like 10 months to save a down payment. That's brutal. I gotta get there faster. So if I'm trying to accelerate this journey, rather than just saving my way there, which I know I could do, like in 5 years I could just save the money working at a regular job, but I wanna make this more, exciting. So what will I do? I got some ideas. So there's 3 things I'm gonna do. First one is I'm gonna try to wholesale the odd contract. I'm gonna lock up as much as I can under contract. As soon as I have a deal under contract, conditional of course, I'll get a good realtor in town. I'm gonna go find a realtor who just does investment properties. I don't want someone that buys and sells homes. I'm gonna interview them and ask them questions, of course, ask them things like cap rate, ask them, how many deals have they done personally. If a realtor doesn't do any investing, I don't wanna deal business with them. There's lots of realtors in town who don't have any rental properties. I don't wanna use those guys. I'm gonna find the guys who are good negotiators, who do a lot of rental property business. That's their focus, is investment properties. They probably know someone they can assign the deal to once I've locked it up. But I've got enough for a deposit, so I'll put a $1,000 deposit up on each deal, or $5,000 in each deal. Within a month, I'll have enough savings to lock up a deal. Then I'll basically wholesale that to someone for another $5,000. Remember, I opened up a line of credit at each of the banks. Anyone can go in now with a day job, can go into every single bank and get $10,000 unsecured line of credit at about 6% unsecured interest rate. So if you're right now, you're taking tips here, go to all my mentees do this. Go to TD, Scotia, Bank of Montreal, RBC, and CIBC, and one of the credit unions like Meridian or Libro, and order a $10,000 line of credit at each one. You apply for each one, you probably get it. So there's 60 grand in capital unsecured. You just go get that. Then go get a couple of credit cards. So at Scotiabank, you can transfer your balances from your credit card to your line of credit. So go open a Scotiabank Visa for 10 grand or 5 grand. With a $50,000 a year job, I could probably finagle a $10,000 credit card balance. Transfer that balance over to my line of credit. Now my Scotiabank line of credit has $20,000 on it, unsecured. Maybe it's at 7 or 8% because I don't have any wealth. I'm pretty poor. All I have is a job. And so I go to the bank and that's all. So I've got 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, and 10, and an MBNA 0% interest card with $10,000 available on it. So I'm almost at like $80,000 of available capital, and I'm saving aggressively $4,000 a month. And because I'm locking up a deal a week, right? I'm going to see 4 properties every single day, 7 days a week. That's 28 properties. On those 28 properties, I'm going to assume I'm going to offer on every single one of those 28 properties, and I'll probably get 1 accepted offer or 2 accepted offers. It's going to be very aggressive. I'm going to be offering deals that most people don't want to take, but in a one or two scenarios a week, I'll get an offer under contract. Once I have it under contract, I'll try to assign that. So I'm gonna go on Kijiji and set up things like, hey, I have great deals. I'll post like, hey, I've got private off-market deals, stuff like that. I'll put those ads up on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. Investors are gonna start reaching out. I'm going to every single networking session that exists for real estate within a 2-hour radius of London. So after work, I'm grinding the networking sessions. I'm grinding on everywhere to try to get connections to people who are looking for deals. And as soon as I find investors who are looking for properties, there's a ton of them, by the way, hundreds of them at all the networking events begging for deals, I call them and I say, hey, you said the last networking event you were looking for something in the $300,000 range. They rented for like $3,000 or more a month. I got a better deal than that. What do you think about partnering up? I'll do all the work. I'll manage the property. I'll do it all. I'll do it for 25%, which is like an extreme discount. To do everything for 25% of the profit, they put up the money, but you get 25% of profit. You're the manager. You manage the construction, all of that. You start building there. So I start getting deals, right, closed. But I also have access to those lines of credits. So I'm gonna take a deal down as soon as I have enough saved up that I can show the bank I have proof of down payment, right? So as soon as 10 or 11 months in, I've probably done, let's say that 1 in 4 of these deals I lock up, I'm able to actually wholesale to someone or assign for a fee. So I've got, I guess I'm locking up 1 a week, let's say on the conservative side. So I've got 4 locked up a week, but I can actually, I just let 3 of them disappear because I can't get rid of them. But one of them I can assign per month. That's like I'm sure I can do that. 3 of them will fail, 1 of them will be successful. I'll see 100 properties. I'll get like 5 or 6 under contract of those 100 that I see on my lunch breaks and after work, and then I'll assign a quarter of those. So that's pretty realistic if you're focused on it. Honestly, my success rate with like assignments has been almost 100%. I just would work all night until I found someone who wanted the deal. I would call every realtor in town. I'm like, hey, do you have an investor? Do you have a client? I got a really great deal, locked it up. Who wants to partner? Who wants to do this? Then I would go and call up the private lenders. So I go on Kijiji, go on Facebook Marketplace, and type in all the private lenders. Hey, super chat, William, $50. Appreciate that, man. My place in Vegas is under contract to be sold. Detroit place is almost ready for rent. Grateful for your channel, advice, and say thank you. Hey, William, I appreciate that so much. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you getting some closure to that Detroit situation. I really appreciate the super chat. We're workshopping what I do if I had to start again, right? So I've got these lines of credits sitting there existing that I can tap into a pretty cheap rate, but I'm gonna go on to Kijiji and hit up all the people who offer private mortgages, second mortgages and private mortgages, hit them all up. These guys are the B and C lenders. They lend at like 9, 10%, but they lend without any assets. They don't care if I have a down payment. They don't care where it comes from. They care that I have a job letter. In fact, even if I didn't have a job, they'd probably still lend to me at like 12%. Secured against the property, they'll put a first mortgage on it, but I can get mortgages all day long at 6, 7, 8, 9%. Once I got the property under contract, right, I just gotta close it. Once you close it, you can bring it back to an A-lender bank. Because to close the deal, you need proof of down payment. Once it's closed to refinance, you don't need that. So I close forget the wholesaling then. If you don't want me to do the wholesaling, I'd probably be doing the wholesaling to generate cash, but you can pretend I didn't do that at all. So I wasn't locking up deals and assigning them. Let's just say I'm just looking for just myself. I buy the first deal, I got this bunch of lines of credits that I can't use to a bank because the bank wants to see proof of down payment. So they don't want me to take from my lines of credits and use that to close. But a B lender or a C lender doesn't care. So I can still close deals. I go lock up I was looking at one last week on MLS as an example. It was $190,000. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It could be a 4-bed, 2 bath. Has an ARV of about 260 grand. You can go on my Instagram if you want to see my wife. You can check that out. And she doesn't want to be on social media. She has no interest in YouTube at all. So she doesn't want to do any of that. But and she doesn't want my daughter to be on social media. And to be fair, that's fine. My daughter's like 3.5. I don't want to expose her to the world without her consent. But okay, so we've got B and C lenders. I've got these deals under contract, like the one I just talked about. Bought it for 190 grand. It's an MLS deal, basic, crappy old house, little bungalow house. And I'm gonna need to renovate it, so I'm gonna have to use my day job income to pay for the renovations, and I'll have to renovate it over time. But this first deal, I close it, right? 190 grand is no big deal. I've got access to the lines of credits. What's 20% down on, let's call it 200 just for more conservative numbers. So 200 grand, 20% is $40,000. So we have $40,000 in down payment I need. I have 10 at Scotia, 10 at TD, 10 at RBC, 10 at the MBNA 0% interest credit card. I draw that down. I have the $40,000 down payment, not of my own money. By the way, I am still saving consistently all of my paychecks, but let's pretend I just started working, right? And I have no money. So I've got to pretend that I have nothing. So I've used the lines of credits money. I'm paying 6, 7, 8, 9%, and I got my first secured mortgage on it for 80% loan to value from a B or C lender, right? They're okay. They got 80% loan to value. They got lots of margin. I put up the rest. They don't care where it comes from. I close the first deal. I get in there, I paint reno on the weekend because I'm only working Monday to Friday. That weekend, I get all the floors changed out, all the paint changed out. I have 4 contractors working with me. It's very easy to do. I'll go find sub-trade guys for 15 bucks an hour. I'll be there all weekend working with them because those guys, you need to be right behind them the whole time. If you leave, they'll go on smoke breaks and be like chilling. But if you're there, focused, stuff gets done. Paint floors, everything's turned around. We frame up the basement really quick in the first week while I'm working. I check in on them on my lunches. I'm still looking for my second deal, but I go there, I get it all figured out. I framed up the basement, we get it done in a week and a half. I go hardcore, right? Just a basic, quick cosmetic reno. Property's now worth, I didn't do duplex conversion. I didn't go crazy because I didn't have the money for that. All I had was like on my line of credit, I had 1 line of credit left with like 10,000, 1 line of credit left with 10,000. So I can't go crazy on the renovations. I do a lean reno super quick. Now I go to the A-lender bank and I say to them, and by the way, I go by private money and I pay off my unsecured lines of credits. And then I go back and I have all this private debt out, right, that I need to refinance because it's at like 10% interest rate. It's killing me. Even if I rent this property out, I'll have almost no cash flow. It's not a good solution, but it gets me into the deal. Now I go to the A-lender, I say, hey, I have this property, it's worth 260 grand. They don't know they don't care what I paid for it, they care what it's worth. I bring an appraiser in, they go and appraise it, it's 260 grand. I can lock those up all day long, right? Let's assume I can't assign them. I just locked it up myself, I closed on it with private money. Now it's been like a month. I bring it back to the lender, I say, hey, I have a great job. My wife works part-time. I've got almost no debts, very focused on saving. I just want to refinance this property, 80% loan to value. Can I put a mortgage on it? Okay, no problem. They don't need to proof of down payment because I already own the property, right? So they don't need to see that. All they need to see is that I can pull at 80% loan to value. So I pull at 80% loan to value on say 250 grand, 210,000. I pay off the private lender. Now I've got 20 or 30,000 to work with, right? It's not a full burr, but it's some capital. I do it again. Private lender, get it closed. Once it's closed, bring it to the A-lender. The A-lender will say no, but they'll say yes on the refinance, right? Because they don't need proof of down payment when you already own the property. They don't care about that, right? They care about the value. And if you're buying property you're buying undervalued all the time, you get that upside right away. So I always close with B and C lenders. I use unsecured lines of credits for my down payments to close the deal. I close the deal. Once it's closed, I go back to the A-lender and I refinance them out. And I even get a little bit of money out in most cases. I can go get 10 mortgages, no problem, with a $55,000 a year job, working full time, I'm grinding in the office, but I'm really not focused on that job at all. I do enough lip service and work at the job that I'm keeping my job. I don't want to get promoted, I just want to keep the job to get the mortgages. And then we go until I get to 3 mortgages. I get to the 3rd mortgage, right? Now I've created about 100 grand in cash, and I have my unsecured lines of credits for 10 credit card, and I guess the extra 10 that I transfer over from that credit card onto the Scotia line of credit. So I have that extra 10 as well. And I got 100 grand now, and I got 3 properties that now at A-lender financing are cash flowing. Each of them $1,000 a month. So I got $3,000 a month coming in, and I'm saving $4,000 a month for my day job. I'm starting to get into a financial independence situation, but the bank says, whoa, hold on, you just got 3 properties, let's wait and see. So now they're gonna slow me down. I have to go to maybe a B lender or go to a credit union to buy a few more. I'll probably get capped out again at 5 or 6, but by 5 or 6 properties, the kind of properties that I buy, the cash flow the way that they do, I'm probably making $1,000 a property. I'm already financially independent enough that I could probably quit the job. But I'll stay at the job until I've maxed out the mortgages. So I'll probably stay there for a full year, grind that out to 5 or 10 properties, jump out. Now I started building a network. I've just acquired 5 or 10 properties in like 6 months. I go to networking events, people are like, holy shit. Look at that guy. He's this young guy, he's working, he's hustling, he's getting deals, and he's got so many extra deals, he can even sell some to us. And so now I got a name for myself, right? Then an investor calls me and says, look what you're doing with these properties. I want a piece. I got money. Money's easy to find. Like everyone has money in Toronto and Vancouver. Like everyone who's been working anywhere for 10 years has money. Like it's so easy to get money. Money is the easiest thing to get. The hardest thing to get is the deal, which I'm working very hard on my lunches and all night in the evenings, as well as like after work and on the weekends. That's the hard part, the deal and then managing it all, putting it all together. But I have the knowledge. You didn't take that from me. All you took from me was all my connections and all my money. So it's not a problem. I get that back pretty quick. Other strategies you can use, go rent out places and re-rent them on Airbnb. I see people do that to create income for themselves. Emma, you're not allowed to come in. I'm sorry, my girl. Go see Mama. She just wants to get in because she can't. The forbidden fruit. We all want the thing that we can't have, you know? It's like, she can see, there's glass. You can see, there's glass on my office door. And so she wants to get in, and she can't. It's so unfortunate. But now we'll go to question and answer. That was a good question. I think I sufficiently answered how I could get there to enough cash flow with like 5 or 10 properties. But yes, you can imagine a situation where in 3 years I would have 20 or 30 properties, but conservatively I would have 10 properties in 3 years. And I would work and I would grind in a job that I hated for as long as I needed to get back on track. It would take me less time than it took me the first time. In 3 years, I got over 10 properties. Working my day job the first time, that was without any knowledge. Now I know everything there is to know about real estate and financing. I could leverage that to get deals done. So, okay. I think my wife's having a shower right now. I don't even know. Maybe that's why. Oh no, I can hear her upstairs. She's trying to wash her other daughter. So times are tough having kids. That's all I gotta say. But if I was not on the live stream, we'd just be playing right now, having fun. So maybe I should wrap this up pretty quick. I'll do the question and answer and then I'll wrap it up. Okay, watching from my house hacks. Hey Jake, good to see you on. Appreciate that. Okay, so hopefully that question was sufficiently answered. If it wasn't, let me know. There are lots of strategies, like you can rent out houses, you just put a last month's rent up and then you can re-rent it out to students by the bedroom, or you could do, the better way is just Airbnb. Rent a place, get a landlord on board with it, pay him the rent you want, say it's $2,000 a month, throw it on Airbnb, get $3,000. There's $1,000 a month profit per house you rent out. You can get control of 10 assets, 10 properties really quick by renting them. I prefer to do the strategy where you close with private financing and then go back to an A lender and get financing that way. But there are lots of strategies. If I sat down and thought about it, I'm sure I'd have more strategies than, like, that was just off the top of my head, how I could get deals done, like how I know that people are getting deals done without proof of down payment, right? So you can get deals done without the down payment very easily, but it takes a bit of finagling. You gotta close the property first and then go back for the refinance. That's how you get around the down payment requirements. I was wondering, do you lease student rentals per bedroom or the entire house if you're treating it as a luxury furnished rental? I don't do anything by the bedroom, Tommy. There was a time where I used to do all that. I used to rent out by the bedroom. I go like be getting the max amount per bedroom and like trying to like police the house so everyone can get along together, and I was getting like 10 e-transfers per house. Now I just have one lease, one house. I say, look, all you guys are a group of 5. I rent out to a group. I say, if someone leaves in your lease, you got to figure it out. You got to find a 5th to live with. You pick your own roommate, run it by me, but you pick your own person. I get 1 transfer per unit. That's it. So it's a 5-bedroom house, I get 1 transfer. Not 5 email transfers. I don't want to deal with that. Honestly, I don't even deal with the email transfers anymore, to be honest with you. Like, that all goes through like mentees and property management. But if I was starting again, I would do that, obviously. Don says, Don Trent, finally caught the live show. Just wanted to make a donation to your channel. I love your content. You've always helped me in so many ways, both spiritually and financially. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that's awesome. We're getting some super chats tonight. The Wise Wall show, or the Mike Rosehart show, is your chance to donate. If you're watching the playback, I'm sorry you missed it. Maybe you have to catch the next one. But it is like a Patreon of sorts. So if you do find value from the channel, keep the channel alive. Let's pay for better equipment. I'm still waiting for someone to sponsor a new iPhone for the stream. We're using an older iPhone, and it would up the quality a lot if I could get a used iPhone 8 for like $250. So I'm waiting for someone to sponsor that at some point. I am open to a sponsorship maybe on that. That would be cool. But yeah, this will go towards keeping the lights on in a lot of ways. So I do appreciate that a ton. Per hour, it's not good pay, but I feel like it does add enough value to your guys' lives that I am consistent every single week, and I will not give up unless the audience tells me to give up. Although I do get some haters once in a while that, you know, attack me and things like that. Net 9 out of 10 comments are positive, and 9 out of 10 DMs are positive. It's the 1 out of 10 that drag it down for the bunch. Like I had some problem tenants that were, you know, like after me, but I think I've solved that issue now by just removing myself from any management at all. Good to be here. Good to have you on, Brian. Thanks. Appreciate it so much. Could you speak to your approach to negotiating with sellers? Any secret weapons or approaches? Well, they wouldn't be secret weapons if I shared them with the 1,000 people who are going to watch the replay on this. But I can share some nuggets for you. So how do you negotiate? What are some tactics for negotiation? 1, be ready to walk away always. On every deal, I'm always ready to walk away. That's important. Don't get too emotionally invested. Don't get to a point where, you know, you can't walk away. A good negotiator in real estate can walk away. That's key. To negotiate well, you need to solve problems. And like, I think it's unethical to just take from people, right? You got to give. So the best negotiators know how to give. And when I say give, I mean like find out the problem point for the person. Are they maybe frustrated with their rental property right now and their tenants are giving them a hard time? Maybe you put in the offer, you'll manage the property starting tomorrow. Maybe it closes in 60 days, but their headaches end tomorrow. Your offer is now thousands of dollars more attractive than the next offer. I've offered that before, and I actually got a deal where I managed the property before close. I drove by the property, I took care of it, I did everything for the investor. They wanted just to be done with it. They were like, they had a bad situation with a tenant and they were done with it. I was gonna take their problems and get paid for it, but take their problems off their hands, and they were willing to sell for a discount. They sold the property for $10,000 less to me. They had another offer on the table. They took my offer because they didn't have to worry about anything starting tomorrow. I took care of everything. That's a negotiation tip, right? You could solve their problem. If they're, living in the house and they're, elderly person, maybe they don't know how to use the internet. You help them find a new place. Maybe they're going into a renting situation or finding a new house. Help them find a new house. I guarantee you they're gonna sell you their house over someone else, even if the price is different. Oftentimes I've sold houses because there was a hoarder house where we actually went through the items and helped them clear out their house. That's a ton of value add. Maybe you're saying, oh, Mike, you took advantage of that person. You got $20,000 off the purchase price from the next best offer. But I tell you what, that person made that choice in good faith. They had both offers in their hand and they chose mine over the other one. People have misconceptions about other people's beliefs about money. They think that money is the most important thing, and money is not the most important thing in most people's lives. Most people would prefer an easy transaction to a hard one with more money. I know a lot of people jump on here and say, like, Mike, why would anyone sell you their house for $250,000 when they know it's worth $300 and someone else comes to the table and offers them $300? I'll tell you the examples where that happens. The examples where that happens are they are nervous about moving. They don't know where they're going to find a house. Their house is full of stuff. Maybe they don't want to manage their property anymore. You add value in other ways to their life. Maybe it's just like, in some situations, you may have to go buy them a car and give them a car on closing. Like, crazy things have happened to get deals done. But that's where you negotiate. That's where you add value. Other small things like conditions on the offer. If you're going with a ton of conditions, like there's reps and warranties that guarantee every single thing about this house, and financing condition, and I'm going to do a building inspection and a home inspection, all this kind of stuff, and all that stuff in the offer muddies the offer. Two offers, identical purchase price, identical closing date. One has tons of conditions, one has no conditions. Firm offer, done. Unconditional offer, called a clean firm offer. That second offer is worth, in some situations, 10% more. So you can get a 10% discount by offering with no conditions. If you're comfortable with the house after your first inspection, you went unconditional. That's a huge way to get a good discount. A lot of my deals, I went unconditional. That's one of my value plays. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna buy your house, cash tonight, I'll put a deposit in your pocket. I'm not walking away, it's firm. You keep my deposit if I screw up. There's no financing condition, no home inspection condition. That's a huge tip. Quick closing. If you can close in 25 days instead of 60 days, that's value to a lot of people. And oftentimes you get thousands off the purchase price to close quickly. In other situations, I had one situation where we did a 1-year close. A 1-year close. And they were sold to me for a lot less because I was willing to let them have the 1 year they needed. They get to stay there for the whole year. It's weird to do agreements of purchase and sale for a year out, right? That happens. We actually have a fourplex too that we're trying to close for like the last year. And it's appreciated over the last year. Like, we've had 10% appreciation and I've locked in the purchase price. It's a win for me actually to lock it in for a long close, but some people want that. They don't want to have to worry about listing their house. They want to know in a year that when they move that their house is sold and it's good and they want to sell it now. Cool, awesome. I'm happy to negotiate that in. So find out what the buyer or what the seller wants. As the buyer, a good negotiator understands what the seller actually wants. Don't go in assuming they want a quick close. Don't go in assuming they want an unconditional offer. Don't go in assuming that money's the most important thing in their life. Maybe it is. Some people, it is just about the money, and cool. Like maybe you give them the max purchase price they want, but you bake in, like, you get to keep all the renovation materials that are sitting in their basement, and you get to have the car in the backyard, and they have a snowblower, you get to throw that in too, and maybe you can throw in something like you have the right to rent the property out before closing on them, and like you can do showings while they're living there. Maybe you can get value in other ways. Give them the purchase price they want, but throw in a ton of conditions that help you. So it can go the other way too. Being creative. That's how you become a good negotiator, is you understand the seller, understand what they want, and give that to them. There's no secret sauce. I'm not like Grant Cardone gonna tell you how to like manipulate them or like use some like psychological bullshit. Like, I'm an honest guy and I come to the table fair and straight up front. That's just been my strategy in negotiating. I know there are people who are good at like splitting the difference and all this kind of stuff, and they're good at like negotiating with people really hard. I'm not necessarily really good at negotiating, but I am good at finding the common ground. And so that's kind of negotiating. Hopefully that rant added value to your life in some way. Okay, I'm gonna go rapid fire because it's almost been an hour and I gotta hurry. Family is important. Remember that, guys? Family is important. Okay. I was wondering, do you lease student rentals? We talked about that. No, I do by the property rather than by the bedroom. It's just also legally a better way to do it. Could you speak to your approach to negotiating with sellers? We did that. We finished that question. Don't give up on these videos. GTA investor, I will not. I will hold strong. I may go a Saturday without a video. I don't know. We'll see. I might need a break one of these Saturdays. But my live streams, I will consistently post at least once a week, and I have not given up on this live stream. I don't plan to. I get a lot of value from it. I get amped up, and you guys get a lot of value from it. A lot of people watch the playback, and they tune in live. We have like 50 people watching, which is pretty cool. Hi, everyone. If you're watching, good to see you. If I haven't seen you in a while, and I owe you something, like a lunch or something, or we need to connect, send me a message. Say, hey, Mike, we haven't connected in like a year. Let's go for lunch. So say hi if you're one of my friends in there stealthing on silent mode. Okay, we're gonna go question and answers nice and fast. Try to get caught up here because there's a lot of questions that I missed or haven't addressed yet. Hello, JC. Hey, Hugo, good to see you on. Glad you're able to sell your place. So Hugo, actually haven't sold my house yet. Still for sale, still dealing with showings. Got several interested parties, but no one's put up a firm offer as of yet. So we will see. I will lower the price $10,000 probably again and see if I get offers. So I think at like 560, 570, my house becomes a really good deal. Like, where do you get 3,200 square feet? It's like 5 bedrooms plus 3 offices, 8 rooms, I guess, and 5 bathrooms. Like, where do you get that? The 2-car attached garage in a huge lot in Northwest London. Like, anyway, someone's gonna buy it. The market is cooling though, especially in this price point. So it is a hard time to sell in the winter. No one wants to move in the winter. So I may have to I don't know. I need to get better photos, probably better staging. My house isn't staged at all. It's just how I live in my house. That's a mistake. But again, I'm rich enough that I don't care. Like, if I get $10,000 less for this house, I don't care. It's like less than a deal for me. So I'm not that focused on optimizing the value on the sale of this house. I would like to sell it. So if someone puts in an offer, that'd be cool. But Hugo, good to connect with you. Hola Pro says, hey Mike, can you talk about secure mortgages and how about to invest in it? Any companies you can recommend? So secure mortgages, there's like, you can lend money out and then secure it against an asset like real estate. So one example would be secure, you lend someone $100,000. You secure it against one of their properties. In the first secured position, you'd be a first secured mortgage. You put it in the second secured position after an existing mortgage, that'd be a second mortgage. If there's already a second mortgage, it'd be a third mortgage. You can lend mortgages out of your tax-free savings accounts. You can register mortgages and lend money out of your RSP. So if someone has $200,000 sitting in their RSP, they can lend it to me to buy a property, and we can secure it against a mortgage using a company like Olympia Trust. They're a third-party company, takes the money out of your RSP. It's still technically like there, but they take the money out. They lend it to a third-party investor like myself to buy property, and you get like an 8 or 10% return paid tax-free into your tax-free savings account. It's a great, we can talk about that forever, about strategies to optimize for tax and how great Canada can be in many ways. But mortgage lending is fantastic. The best I've seen is, from a risk to return perspective, is first secured mortgages up to 75% loan to value, they're private mortgages, at 12% interest rate. That's dirty and it's extremely conservative. Like, the market is not going to crash 25% or more. Like, it has to crash more than 25% for you to lose any money, right? So that level of risk is almost like, I feel like the government would step in and save real estate before real estate prices would crash more than 25%. That's a crash from $1 million down to like $750,000, right? So when I lend $750,000 on a first secured mortgage, it better be against $1 million house, right? So when it drops down, I'm not gonna lose, the chances of losing that much money are low. And 12% interest is a great return for that risk level. Like, it almost feels to me like the government would step in, support the real estate market and bring back prices to a point where it's as safe almost as bonds, like AAA graded bonds. It feels like, if you're smart with how you vet your mortgage holder, it can be that type of risk to reward, which is ridiculous, right? Like, working at 12% return tax-free, here in Canada you can at low risk levels. Like, it's ridiculous. And I've seen some crazy second mortgages, people who are willing to lend on that additional, like that remaining 25%. So let's say the remaining 25% of equity left in the property, people lend on that. I've seen it 20%, 25%. Just some juicy things where people blow their TFSAs up real quick and they get their TFSA to a really high level. Even just like lending to a friend, and they know the friend's gonna pay them back. It's secured on their friend's house, and their friend pays them insane interest rates, and their tax-free savings account blows up. If you do that for a 10-year period and max out your tax-free savings account, you get $1 million in your TFSA. Now you get $1 million in your TFSA, go put it in dividend stocks, get your 6%, and there's 60 grand a year tax-free for the rest of your life. Plus you can have dividends outside your TFSA and make another 50 grand a year per person in the couple relationship tax-free. So you can make like 6 figures tax-free in Canada. It's a beautiful place to retire early. Canada's an amazing place. We're so blessed. Okay, I'm almost done, my dear. I love you, my girl. I'll be out in a minute, okay? I'm currently working on trying to find off-market deals. I've been hanging out flyers. Do you have any tips to help me find my first off-market deal? So Jordan, the best way is to knocking on doors is to go talk to all the wholesalers. 5 more minutes, Emma. 5 more minutes, okay? So you've got, I gotta hurry. I gotta go quick here. I can't give you a long preamble. I wish I could. Next week. Bring that question next week and I'll answer it better. I've talked about it maybe 10 or 20 streams ago. I think maybe 20 or 30 weeks ago. We had this question. I delved deep on it. But basically, talk to all the wholesalers in the market. Get to know everyone who's wholesaling properties. And just have someone wholesale you a private deal. Private deals aren't necessarily that much better than MLS deals. I've negotiated some insane MLS deals. I had a property that I went to that was listed as a 4-bed, 1-bath on MLS. Okay, a deal actually just locked up was listed on MLS as a 4-bed, 1-bath. And they took the listing down. It's physically a 9-bed, 3-bath, 3-kitchen. The agent did a disservice, huge disservice on this property, right? It was not marketed well at all. 1 picture, 3 pictures I think it had. That's an example of like, that was an insane deal on MLS, 100,000 under market value. So agents screw up all the time, get deals on MLS too. You don't know until you see enough properties. You gotta go like, you wouldn't know by looking at the listing. You have to go see that property to realize that it was mislisted. Happens a lot. Agents get lazy, get sloppy. People are afraid to like say they have 8 bedrooms right in a house because legally you're supposed to only have 5 in London, blah, 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 unless your grandfather. But how do you find private deals? You get talking to investors. You get talking to people. It's through, most of my private deals are through referrals. Like people, a contractor knows someone who knows someone and he hands me a deal and I hand him a little $1,000, check or something for connecting us, right? Or, I'm on Kijiji and I see a private deal pop up and I, message them and go see the house, or Facebook Marketplace, same thing, or that kind of stuff. So just find them. Like I don't even do that much marketing to actually find deals. So I'm not the right person to ask. I'm not a wholesaler, right? I find enough deals, but they kind of find their way to me, typically. I'm actively looking, but they find their way to me. Okay, I gotta go a lot faster here. How much power do landlords have if the rental unit is their primary residence? I don't know what you mean, how much power they have. So if you share common space, you can evict your tenant whenever you want. So if you share a kitchen, a living room, a washroom, then you can, the common areas, then it's easy to evict the tenant. The RTA doesn't apply. Otherwise, you have no more power than if you didn't live there. So if it's a duplex and it's a legal duplex, then you can never evict the tenant. You have no power. It's very hard. Hi, Mike, don't pay attention to the negative comments. Keep up the good work. Thank you, appreciate that. Going from lean fire to baller fire. Yeah, actually in a lot of ways. So it depends how you define lean fire. And I want to do a video on this. I know, Emma, I know you're just standing at the door begging for me to come out. I gotta go. Guys, I gotta go. So lean fire versus fat fire. As a percentage of my net worth currently, and as a percentage of my income, I am extremely fire. I save 80 to 90% of everything that I earn, even today, and I'm still building my net worth. So even living in a $750,000 house, I'm still lean fire relative to the money that I have, right? Relative to what I'm making. So it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's all relative to what your goals are and what you want to make. Like technically you can still be lean fire. Like I'm going to be very frugal in my new house. It's not going to cost me as much as what you might think. But yeah, I am definitely upgrading my lifestyle a bit. And that's just because I've made so much money over the last year. I have to spend it somehow, Okay, I'm surprised you do not have more subscribers. I have just discovered your channel. Fantastic content watching from the UK. South London reseller. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Mike, can you talk about secure mortgage and talk about investing it? I talked about that already. How you do that. You could do it yourself, or you could connect with a mortgage broker who will hook you up with he'll take a point or two as a fee and connect you with basically borrowers. Sorry, not cold still. Oh, my poor daughter. I gotta hurry, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna get through all these questions. There's a lot. I don't know if Brampton does. You have to check into that. I know the province is pushing down rules to allow up to 3 units on all residential properties. I'm sure the old farts in the neighborhood that don't like students and don't like multi Airbnb and multifamily, I'm sure they're gonna have us think about it. But fuck you and fuck them. Excuse me. Sorry, that was French. My French is not very good. That was. I'm sorry. I actually think the housing crisis is caused by these old farts who don't want to allow us to have more than 5 bedrooms, who don't want to allow secondary dwelling units, who don't want to allow us to densify. Densification solves the housing crisis. People are retarded. I think we need the development. We need to allow that. That's the only way to incentivize landlords to bring more units onto the market. More supply brings down demand, which solves the housing crisis problem that we have. So allow it. Everyone just wants to complain. No one wants a solution. Getting the down payment takes forever. Yes, but if you watched the clip, you would see that I don't need the down payment to buy the properties. I can use the private money and my unsecured lines of credits that anyone can qualify for with a job. So there you have it. Oh, jeez. This cold's killing me. Kids in school get you sick. Okay, I answered that question. We'll do a whole video on how to find private deals, but I think I gave a little bit of a synopsis on that. Burr methods. You can burr on MLS. There's tons of stuff that burrs on MLS, but you got to be an expert and know your stuff. You can never get the time back you lost. True. All good stuff. Aside from real estate, where else do you invest your money? Do you invest in the stock market? Do you buy individual? Yeah, so I own a private company in Toronto as well. Like a large portion of my net worth is in a private company, in a medical company in Toronto. So I do invest in businesses as well. I have a couple of businesses that I actually invest in. I do some private lending, and I do have some stock portfolio as well. Yeah. So that's how my net worth is currently divided up right now. Thanks to your channel, I bought my first duplex. That's awesome. Sure. How do I get unsecured lines of credits with low interest rates? How do I fake having a business to get those lines of credits? Yeah, so you can do it with a business and you can do it personally. You can go in personally and open like lines of credits just by having a job. You can also open a company and say, hey, I have a company, I just opened it. I'm looking for a $10,000 line of credit to like help advertise or something. And like a bunch of my friends open businesses, like one guy opened like a grass cutting business, another guy a marketing business, and went and got like a $30,000 line of credit on his marketing business, which has like no revenue. So it's easy to go get mortgages if you just go into the bank, or not mortgages, unsecured lines of credits. You may pay 7, 8, 9% on that, but it's proven that you can do it. Anyone can go get access to $100,000 in unsecured money, and they can use that then for down payments to go buy properties with private lenders. So anyone can go buy deals right now, as long as you have a full-time job. If you don't work, then you can't do that. Okay. I have a friend who lives overseas. He has funds to buy a house. Any idea what the rules are for non-residents, first-time home buyers? So anyone can buy in London, there is no home buyer tax. There's a foreign buyer's tax in like Toronto, Vancouver, and the big cities to stop like the outside foreign investment. But other than that, you can get a mortgage and buy a property. Usually you have to put more down because you're international and there's some tax complications, but anyone can buy property in Canada. Where am I moving? Into London, just in a different property. I blew up my home. Hopefully you're just joking there. That's unfortunate. Maybe don't do your own electrical work. Pro tip. Last 2 weeks now, I missed so much. I had our first baby on Thanksgiving Day. I've been busy ever since. I understand that. Having kids is tough. Where does Mike work, though? He didn't work. I did work. We were actually sort of like that 20-minute scenario you're watching. I was brainstorming how I might start again if I had no social media, no connections, and no money. And I just start again. How would I become financially independent in like 3 to 5 years? And it's doable. Like I'm literally beta testing it on 4 mentees right now, and they're all gonna be financially independent, and I'm gonna do it with more people. I've done it with lots of coaching clients and stuff. I know it's doable. I'm watching people do it. So for all the naysayers who say it's impossible, you can look to the evidence. You're just not probably doing it right. Hey, no problem. Happy to help. Thanks for the comments. Wait a few more years when both girls are banging on the door. Eric, you're right, 100%. Hopefully at the new house, what I'm gonna do is build a tiny house studio in the back. So I'll have a separate detached structure for guests and for like hanging out and for YouTube. So that's coming. If the YouTube channel could grow a little bit more, just like, double the views that it gets now, instead of, we get like average, just got an average day, I'm getting 2,500 views a day, in a 36 or 48 hour period, if I get like 5,000 views every 24 to 36 hours consistently, which is like a couple 100,000 views a month consistently, which is about double what if I could double it, then I would have enough to build a tiny house studio, and it would actually pay for it. Like the amount I'd borrow in money to build it would pay for from the revenue from YouTube. So that'd be cool. That's the goal. You're still going to do another mentee program later on. Alex, the program's continuing. It has 4 people in it right now. It's a full-time immersive live-in program, and I don't want to expand it more than 4 people right now. So if a spot opens up, I'll let everyone know and they can apply. You should create a software product for real estate because you have so much knowledge on the real estate industry. Yeah, but like I don't have an interest, honestly, in the software. Okay, I'm sorry. I like to get through all the questions and I try my hardest, but there's a lot here. Do not get overconfident. Yeah, I mean, that's all I do, right? I shoot first. I'm like ready, aim, fire. You know, like I just go out and do it. I like to jump, and then on the way down, I figure out my parachute. I work better under stress, under pressure. So I just bought 2 properties. I don't even have investors lined up for them right now. They're under contract. They're firm. I'm gonna have to close on them. I know I'll find an investor for them. That like necessity creates productivity. So that's why I do what I do. I'm already doing that now. Like I lock up a property a week now without even trying. So I'm sure I could do that if I was actually spending the time to look at properties. I'm confident in that. Past does predict future, and past experiences can be leveraged. So you guys can stand on the shoulders of me, learn what I know, and do as I have done, or do as you want to do. Okay, cool. Working on information on investing with you. I'm interested in real estate, have capital, but no experience, and I'm interested in being not interested in hands-on. Then you are probably the perfect investor, especially if you're a multi-millionaire or a millionaire and you're accredited. That is the type of investors that that's all I like to work with, assuming they're easy enough to work with from a timeline perspective, because I don't want an investor who's going to be a Nazi on me. But yeah, just hit me up on Instagram or reach out at rosehartproperties@gmail.com. Send me an email. We can get on a phone call and have a quick chat about that. But I have to verify like your wealth a bit there and make sure that we'd be a good fit. And if we are, then the journey to like 10 properties and financial independence is like a couple of years away. I say to my investors, give me a certain amount of capital. Like say you have $500,000 to work with and you can get mortgages. Let me work with that money and let me recycle it from deal to deal, and I'll get you to 10 properties. I'll take that money, I'll burr it, I'll buy another property. We just go. And I'll make some money. The mentees make some money because they're doing a lot of the legwork, and the investor makes a ton of money too. Where can you make 20, 30, 40% return at this risk level? You just can't, right? The returns are too good. That's why I can't get away from real estate. That's why I don't have a huge stock portfolio. It's not because I love the pain associated with dealing with tenants and all the pains of real estate. It's because I make so much money in real estate that I can't not. And I have this like set of skills. It's like that scene from the movie Taken with Liam Neeson. Like I have a very unique set of skills. I will find you. Like I will kill you. You know the whole like scene? It gives me chills every time I watch it. But anyway, the point being, it's hard to walk away when I have this set of skills and I enjoy doing what I do. So yeah, if you have capital and you're like an accredited investor and you want to reach out and do some joint venture deals, 100%. I make my investors, like all my investors have pretty much doubled their down payments. That's like a no-brainer. So yeah, it's easy to make money in real estate. Reach out. We'll see if we're a good fit. If we're a good fit, we'll do some deals. What's the line of credit for you if you have a B and C lender? So what's it for? So the B and C lenders still want to see you have skin in the game. If you want to get a decent like 8 or 9 or 10% interest rate, they want you to put 20% down often. And so the unsecured lines of credits are for the down payment, and the other 80% comes from a private lender to first secured mortgage. So you still have to put up 20%. It's from unsecured lines of credits, not even your money, and then 80% from the private mortgages. That's how you get financing when you don't have a down payment and you don't have proof, right? As soon as I get in the deal, then I've created value. I go back to the A lender bank, I refinance 80% loan to value mortgage, it pays off the line of credit, and it pays off the private mortgage. So I have no debt then, and the equity I've created in the property is now my down payment, effectively, right? That's how the refinance strategy works. It's one of my favorite strategies. I like it when investors buy in cash. We fix it up, we make it right, we stabilize the asset, then we refinance it. I pay them out in full. No one has any money in the deal at all. All the money, the 20% now that's left in there, is value created. So when the investor has $0 in their project and they're gonna check for $1,000 a month and future appreciation, that feels pretty good. People say, what's the return on investment? Infinite. If I can get all your capital back out of the property and it's all just borrowed money in there and it's self-servicing and making us money, that's a Hail Mary. That's what I aim for on every deal. And that's why people invest with me. Okay, multiple lines of credit, that's awesome. Only got credit 19K. The one was 30K whole life for my parents, 8%. Yeah, there's tons of banks. Go into all the banks to get lines of credit. Just go apply for a $5,000 or $10,000 line of credit. The more you apply for, the better you're going to be. The better chance you're going to have of getting more approvals. Why not bring the contractor in on the deal? I haven't seen a value in bringing in a contractor because I can just outsource that. It's a lower value thing. My mentees do a lot of labor for free. So when people partner with me, they get that value for free. Is all like a lot of the contracting labor. I talked about how to find representative value. I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry. There's a lot of questions here. I love them. David, good to see you on. Alex, good to see you. Guys, if you save your question and paste it in the comments after, I'll answer it, if that sounds good. Brian, good to see you. Brandon F, good to see you on. Gonna catch the replay, no worries. Snake Eyes 11, good to see you on. I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry. There's too many of these questions. I can't. Marco, appreciate the questions. Copy and paste this, and then paste it down in the comments after the video publishes the replay, and I'll answer all these questions. Thank you all so much for watching. The secret to unlocking a wealthier you is to spend less, earn more, and maximize your returns. Whoa. And that's what happens. Okay. Bye, everyone. I gotta go.